Paul Burke, and I'm principal at Milton School.
My name is Joseph Suri. I've been associated with the Rye school system for approximately 20 years.
I'm William Turner, the principal of the Osborne School. I've been here since it was first built in 1957.
I'm Bill Bott. I'm the principal of Rye Middle School.
I'm principal of Rye High School. My name is Dean Flood. I think working with young people who are in the process of creating their own identity and their own future, I think that's the most exciting thing there is to do in the world. I'm sure business is exciting, making money is exciting, working as an engineer would be exciting, but I think working with a developing human being is probably the most gratifying thing that anybody can experience. When graduation time comes, and I see young men and women graduate who had a difficult time growing up and have confronted difficult situations, but have attacked that and done that successfully, there's an incredible sense of, not accomplishment on my part, but good feeling that exists as I see kids go off into a positive future. And knowing that you were a part of that is a personally very rewarding thing, and I don't know that you can get it in any other profession but the education profession. And I feel strongly about that.
It's a great school, and there are a number of things that make it special. One, I think, is the great caring that we have for the children. I like to consider each child in this school as my own child, and what I want for my children, I want for all my students. The teachers share in this caring with me.
It is worth all the pain and sorrow that a teacher goes through when he or she sees a student learn. When the expression on his or her face, that is the student's, changes, and you understand that they now have learned something that they have never learned before. It is a spine-tingling experience and one that keeps me in the business.
Seeing them develop into very happy adults is probably the most rewarding part of the job, and going to work every day is a very pleasant experience for me, and that's rewarding enough.
You also get to see the kids as people, not just as students. You get to know them pretty well, and sometimes help them along in their growth through high school.
The teaching profession, by and large, was going to have more influence on any generation to come up. Without the teachers, there's no future.
And you feel that you really made a difference.
The counselor is really an advocate of the student and is there to assist the students in their, not only their academic process and progress, but also their, wherever possible, social problems, personal problems between faculty, students, or students and home, any types of problems that the student wishes to discuss with the counselor depending on the report. In Rye, we are fortunate in having mostly classes that are of smaller size than many high schools in the area. Our total enrollment here at Rye High School presently is around 753 in grades 10 through 12. The present senior class has about, well, it's 198 students. The 11th grade has about 185. The 10th grade has around 180. And the 9th grade has approximately around 175 students. 85% of these students go on to colleges. The average SATs for the class of 1984 was 467 verbal and 513 math, which of course is above the national average. Most students in the senior year at Rye High School take at least one SAT test. Now the AP test, of course, as I mentioned, is also used in college placement. Since 1979, the number of candidate students taking the APs has increased threefold.
College and Career Room is a room where students may come to do research on colleges, technical schools, and careers. Part of my job in recent years has been to help students who need assistance in filing applications, whether it be the actual application form for college or the FAF, which is the financial aid form. I started that program primarily for the handicapped students at Rye High School, but we very quickly began to realize that students who were on the main track were also coming in for assistance in asking me to read essays or help in answering the questions that they were confused with. Within Rye High School, there is a mandated course called Managing Your Future. And it basically teaches the process of career development, which is the techniques of self-assessment and how to market yourself.
We have been careful in terms of developing a computer program to make sure that we are moving at an appropriate pace, but at an intelligent pace. We are certainly involved in the developing a good computer lab so that we can use computers for instructional purposes in all aspects of our school program. We have 22 workstations now in our middle school computer lab, and we have a full-time teacher aide working in the lab so that kids, as well as full classes, can come into the lab and work with the teacher for instructional ends.
What kind of computer program does Midland School have?
Our computer program is relatively new, but well on its way to being a real fantastic program. Currently, we have 14 computers in the school. 10 of them are situated in one room, which we call our computer lab. All classes from kindergarten up are assigned to go to the lab at least once a week. There, the teachers and the lab aide help the children work the computers, learn about the history of the computers and their application.
We now take our computer instruction class by class, starting with the kindergarten. Each class spends a given amount of time in the media center taking instruction, which means that almost everybody in a class can have a computer. Occasional sharing, we find, does help, is a positive way of getting students to work together.
Also to have a very rich and varied program of electives for students in the areas of music, in art, in drama, in industrial arts. And we therefore try to have some of those programs be required so that kids can begin to have exposure in these areas, and others are truly electives.
We have a middle school chorus of 130 students. I'm very proud of them. We perform at our winter concert and our spring concert at school. We've had a tradition of performing at Rockefeller Center under the Christmas tree. We've done the Hemsley Palace Hotel. We've done the Waldorf Astoria. I have middle school handbell choir that does a lot of outside performing, including Manhattanville with their chamber choir one year, the Ryetown Hilton. On the middle school level, we have a middle school band and a middle school orchestra. They basically give 2 school performances a year, the winter concert and the spring concert, and they also perform at the elementary schools. Our middle school band also has a jazz band. In the high school, we have a high school band, high school marching band, high school jazz band. We have a high school orchestra, which traditionally has been performing with 3 other high school orchestras in High School Orchestra Festival. We do exchanges with other choruses. This year we're going to Toronto. We'll sing with the Toronto group. We'll stay in their homes, and then we'll tour the vicinity of Toronto, and then a month later the Toronto students will come back to Rye. We've been to Boston, we've been to Pennsylvania, we've been to Williamsburg, Virginia. We do a lot of performing outside of the school. Let's see, we have a Rye High School vocal ensemble. I call them the ambassadors of Rye High School. It's about 15 students. We have our high school handbells, which have performed on WVOX radio, WFAS radio, Manhattanville College with their chorus and orchestra, Ryetown Hilton. It goes on and on. I'm very pleased about all the performing groups I have in Rye.
I think we have a very varied program. In the junior high, it's essentially a hands-on experience with a variety of artwork. In the high school, after the first year, which is a full-year survey course, which includes 2-dimensional work, drawing and painting, 3-dimensional work, clay sculpture and construction, some form of printmaking, usually lino prints, and art history. Those are our 4 major areas in the full year course. Photography is probably one of our most popular courses, with both art majors and non-art majors. The facilities are excellent, the equipment is excellent, and they just enjoy it very much. So that's open to all of the student body. We give preference to juniors and seniors, of course. So, then we have some other courses too in ceramics and crafts. An introduction to ceramics and crafts for the kids who feel a full year of like studio might be just too much. All the studios are open during the X periods, the activities periods, and we have 3 studios plus the photo lab. Photo lab is available till 5 o'clock almost every day. So students can come in, they have to actually, come in on their own time to work. There are 8 enlargers and 16 in the class, so they have to spell each other. And they use the studios for their own work, not only for makeup work, but for outside interests. We also have a school magazine called Zephyr. It's an art and literary magazine, which won 2nd place in the Columbia Press Awards last year.
What is it that we saw today?
2nd grade, or 7-year-olds, who were using chalk and were learning the technique of blending and using the idea of imaginary flowers, which loosens them up. When they don't feel they have to do a particular flower in a particular way, it gives them a lot of freedom. And they were magic flowers or imaginary flowers. And the most important thing was that they learned to use the chalk and blend and mix their colors right on the paper.
We offer a varied approach to drama within the middle school and high school from grade 7 through 12. An incoming middle school student can opt for a beginner's course in dramatic arts in 7th grade, whereby we work with such things as improvisations, increase awareness of one's surroundings, the environment, the senses, and so forth. Within the high school, we have a more varied program. It begins with the first course in traditional acting. We have a musical theater workshop whereby students learn the background of the American musical theater, one of the true American art forms. And by viewing videotapes of traditional performances and also reading some of the classics in musical theater, they get a better idea of the integration of music, dance, and theater in the performing arts. Currently, there will be a middle school musical review, which takes place in mid-fall. At the same time, in an overlapping or dovetail approach, the high school has their straight play. Moving on, we have a musical review, something that we instituted here 9 years ago when I arrived in Rye. The final experience usually for the year is the spring musical, a tradition in most school systems, where the staff works with the students, usually numbering about anywhere from 30 to 40 people, for a production that takes place in May.
I'm Stuart Sperling, and I'm in the mechanical drawing class. And right now, after finishing a plate that was assigned, I'm doing my own plate, which is a floor plan of a house, which I'd like to build. In college, I plan to take engineering or architectural courses, aerodynamics and such, that might put my skills to work.